Storing values in session variables is useful, but you should always delete them and end the PHP session when they're no longer needed. You can delete individual session variables, and there's also a quick way to delete them all. In the Hansel and Petal site, let's start by selecting some flowers. So pink calla lilies, we'll have 3 of those, and we'll have, let's have 5 Peruvian lilies, and we'll have some roses. Yellow rose. I'm not from Texas, but we'll have some yellow roses. And then we'll add to the basket. So they're listed there, calla lilies, Peruvian lilies, and roses. So let's try to delete or to unset the session variable for Peruvian lilies. We need to go back to our editing program to work on that. So here we are in order.php. And at the top of order.php, beginning on line 3, we've got an if block, and that runs code only if post bouquet has been set. In other words, if we've submitted from the form in Build a Bouquet. So we must make sure that our code to unset the session variable goes outside of that if block, because otherwise it would only run if we've come from the form. We want to unset it wherever we've come from. So we need to go down below that block. I'm going to use my balance braces in Dreamweaver to find the end of that block. There we are, price array. So we can unset down here outside of the if block. And the argument that unset takes is the name of the variable that you want to unset. So it's a session variable. Now the question is, which session variable do we need to unset? We don't have a session variable for Peruvian lilies. The session variables are up here. They're color, quantity, and image. And if we scroll down a little bit, let's find where we're actually displaying things. What we're doing on line 70 is we're using a for each loop, and we're looking at session quantity as flower name. So what we need to do is to get rid of session quantity, Peruvian lilies. Right, now we know what we want to do. Let's go back. So it's unset session and then an opening bracket. So it's the quantity, closing bracket, and then another opening bracket for our Peruvian lilies. And that's got an underscore in the middle of it. So there we are, we're unsetting session quantity Peruvian lilies. Let's save that, go back to our browser, and we'll go to another page, and we'll come back to view my order, and Peruvian lilies are no longer there because we've unset the quantity of Peruvian lilies so it doesn't appear within that loop. So that's how you unset a single session variable, but very often you want to clear the whole session array. So let's create a script for this cancel order button. Let's go back to our editing program, and we no longer need this unset here, so just let's comment that out. We need to go down to the bottom of the page to find the cancel order button, and there it is on line 114, and the name is cancel, and there is no action in the opening form tag, so that means that the page will simply reload when the button is clicked. So we can add a decision-making block at the top here. We'll put it after that unset, and if then is set, and we are looking for the post array because the form is submitted using the post method, and it's post cancel that we want to look for, and that will mean that the cancel button has been clicked. And if that happens, what we need to do inside that block is to set the session array to an empty array. So it's $_session, all in caps, equals array, then a pair of parentheses and a semicolon, and that just makes it an empty array. So all of the session variables are destroyed. But the other thing which we need to do is to end the session, and that is done with session_destroy, which is also followed by a pair of parentheses and a semicolon. And that's all that you need, we clear the session array, and then we destroy the session. So let's just save that page and go back to our browser. And if I click Cancel Order, that runs. Your basket is now empty. Session variables are associated with a unique session ID, so this removes only those session variables associated with that ID, and then it deletes the ID. If the user submits the Build a Bouquet form again, a new session will be created and the new data will be stored as a fresh set of session variables.